Welcome to Productive Joy with Dr. Christie, where fun meets action.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Productive Joy. You are in for such a treat today, and I cannot wait to introduce you to my new friend, Jeff. But before I do, we need your help. You've got to follow this podcast in order to find out about people like Jeff. And Jeff's topic is so relevant to us today, this day, and every day moving forward. So I cannot wait to introduce you. So with no further ado, Jeff Burningham is lots of things. He is an author. He's also a father and a grandfather. He's an athlete, former quarterback and point guard. He's a wake surfer and a mountain biker and a snow skier who failed his gubernatorial debut, did not become governor of Utah, but gave it a shot. And he loves to dance. And today he is our guest on Productive Joy. Welcome, Jeff.
Christie, what a welcome. I like that bio much more than the normal boring bio. So good job. Yeah, and I love the name of your podcast, Productive Joy. Just makes me happy.
Well, and that's the goal, right? So the reason I introduce my guests that way is because I believe that we are so multifaceted and we are not just the things that we choose to put in our bio. So I think it's a little more fun. And you had a very exciting thing. So this is airing in October. October 23rd is today. However, we are filming it the day after your book launched. What an exciting time. So congratulations, sir.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've been trying to celebrate it. It's been a little hard because of two things. Number one, so busy, man, launching a book. And I've probably been on 50 podcasts in the last 3 weeks.
Oh, gosh.
And then yesterday, so many speaking events. And anyway, so it's been really busy. The second thing is this book has really been transformative for me. And it's been a process of transformation. I think that's what we're going through as humans in the age of AI. And so, but yeah, been trying to celebrate the most I can. And you're uplifting my spirits already. So thank you.
Good. Well, it is a big deal and you need to celebrate. And so I'm curious what the number one thing you've learned in this launch process has been. Maybe it's something you learned about yourself or about the process or whatever. What have you learned?
In the launch process or in writing the book?
You pick. Maybe both. Probably two different things.
Yeah, I think in writing the book, I'm a serial entrepreneur, built billion-dollar companies, ran for governor in the state of Utah, like you said, lost. And so this has been very artistic for me. In fact, I viewed this book as my little offering to the divine, like a piece of art to the world. When I say divine, I'm saying to humanity. And so I've understood the artistic process much better than I ever have before. The agony and ecstasy of creating something so wholeheartedly, putting it out into the world and having no idea how people will react. And luckily the reaction's been very strong and I've been very grateful for that. But there's always some people that are just like ho-hum and you're like, oh, how could you ho-hum my baby? Like this is my whole life, my heart and soul. So I've learned about that in the launch process. Man, launching a book, at least with a large publisher, as I did in a fairly large way. Gosh, it's it's analogous to, again, I've started several companies. It's kind of like a startup with the product being the book. And then, in the gubernatorial campaign, which was a whole nother kind of startup process, I guess I just didn't think that launching a book would rival those in the amount of work that it took, but it does. I mean, man, just it's been a lot of work and I've had a great team surrounding me. And, I often say I've been an adjunct professor of entrepreneurship to thousands of college students. And I often say to them that the best teams usually win. And I've been grateful for my team on this one. And it's been a good run. And I think this is the message for our moment, Christie. So I think there's going to be a long tail on this book.
Oh, I think you're right. And it's so timely and so perfectly placed right where it is. So the book is called, and you can see it if you're watching, it's right behind his head, The Last Book Written by a Human, right? And then there's a subtitle.
Yes.
What's the subtitle?
Becoming Wise in the Age of AI. Yeah, the last book written by a human.
Oh my gosh, I so love it. As an author myself, also an author coach, AI is taking over a lot of different things, but it can't write a book yet. You know, I mean, it could, but it's not going to write the kind of book that we would feel, right? Because
Yeah.
it's smart as what you put into it. So, okay, you've said so many things already, and I just don't even know where to start. So let's back all the way up. You said you're an adjunct professor for entrepreneurial students, right? Is that through a university?
Yeah, BYU down the street from me. Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so you are in Utah. We mentioned that in your bio, but you're in Utah. And so BYU, you teach students how to go on this journey of starting a business. And you've equated that to also launching a book, right? Like that's that same birthing process. What do you notice about the students that you're working with now that is different maybe than it was 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
Great question. Never been asked that. And let me answer you because I know exactly. They understand and appreciate better than maybe our generation. It's certainly our parents' generation. That change is the only constant.
Mhm.
They have lived and grown up in a world of change. This is the world that we're heading into with highly intelligent machines, with AI, and they have a better appreciation for that. So while there's a lot of fear around AI, and rightly so, I think that we were built for this. I think that we were built for the cosmic mirror that I think AI is for humanity, and especially the younger generations. They're up for this challenge. Like we can do it. I believe that AI can be a positive thing to humanity. I believe it's up to us actually. Like we get to choose and we will choose here over the next decade how it turns out for us. But yeah, that's what I'd say is different. They're comfortable with change in a way that maybe we haven't been previously. I think that's just the air they breathe. It's the world they've lived in. And I think again, in the age of AI, I think that's a huge benefit.
Yeah, it definitely is. And you know, you mentioned our generation and Gen Zers and everybody in between, right? Our millennial friends and or maybe you're a millennial. I don't know how old you are. I am squarely
48.
so old.
When's your birthday?
November 1st. I'll be 49 on November 1st.
Oh, see, I'm March 29th. So I'm younger than
You
you.
are just an infant. Baby man. Okay.
Yeah, things happen quick here in Utah. That's why I'm already, I have a grandson that's 1 year old. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Well, our son just got married in July. So I don't know that I'm all that far behind you on the grandmother front. I'm not sure I'm ready, and I haven't picked my name yet. What do they call you?
I'm Pop. It's Gigi and Pops. So my wife Sally is Gigi and I'm Pops. So it's like a rock band.
That is so cute. I have a friend that's Lolly and Pops, which I think is very cute also. But yeah, I'm not ready to be grandma. Like that just feels wrong on every level. Yeah. But so we digress. My point of asking you about generations is that I do think every one of us collectively, like if we're going to be stereotypical for a minute, every one of us collectively are approaching this AI thing with a little bit of a different attitude. And so you get to see it from where you are, and then also where these students that you have are, and kind of everywhere in between. Who's taking this best? And why do you think they're okay with it? Is it the kids that are okay with change? Or is it the people who have been, through all the different changes? I don't know. Like, who do you think?
Well, I think it's the younger generation that's prepared for change because this is happening so rapidly. So I would say that generally. However, the pieces of the book in a sentence is that as our machines become more and more intelligent, we as humans must become more wise. So I think that wisdom lends itself to some maturity and age and experience.
Yeah.
So I think that I actually think, Christy, it's kind of our generation's challenge. Like this is the challenge for our day. And it's something that we need to ensure is focused on human flourishing so that our children and grandchildren have a better, brighter future potentially than we've had. I'm worried that if we don't do that, that won't be the case.
Yeah, I think you're dead on that. And so you started all these businesses, but you chose to write a book about AI. You could have written a book about, okay, how do you start a business? How do you get, and I think there are a few out there. What was your push towards knowing that the world needed this book?
Yeah, this book came through me, Christy. I don't know you that well. I don't know your audience. I don't want to get too weird. This book came through me like it
No.
would not be denied. I would never have chosen to write this book.
How
Writing a book has never been on my like checklist. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur since very young, started and sold a lot of companies, kind of lost my mind, ran for governor in the state of Utah in the 2020 election. The most critical months of the campaign were March, April, May, and June of 2020. So right in the heart of the pandemic. I was running against two very well-known politicians. So there was no way in that disruptive environment that anyone was going to win except these politicians. So I lost that race into the summer of 2020. And for the first time in my adult life, I had space and time. And with space and time, we can create anything. And what I found myself was diving back into the venture capital work. I've been an early stage investor in hundreds of tech companies. And so I was catching up on I had been running a statewide campaign for 18 months. So I was catching up on all the things I'd missed. And the technology that far and away stood out was AI. And what I was interested in almost immediately wasn't the potential for profit or for investing or optimizing. I immediately saw and felt the existential questions, the existential angst that this would cause humanity. And so I've been thinking for the last 5 years about like the spiritual implications of AI. And that's what the book is ultimately about.
Thank you.
So it's been a long process. Like I could continue to tell the story, but like I didn't plan to write this book. I felt like I had to write it, and it's here now. Yeah, in the world.
That's why I'm saying thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for recognizing that you had something that the rest of the world was going to need. I mean, it's very future focused, I guess, because 5 years ago, we weren't all talking about AI. The tech space was. Now,
No, people are going to read this book and say like, wow, oh, awesome. Yeah, what they don't read. And this is so perfect for right now. Yeah, I started writing it 5 years ago. Like this, to write a book, like I'm not an author. I've never written a book. So like, this has been a 5-year journey for me, but now surprise, surprise. By the way, I think this is how the universe works.
I agree.
The book is showing up at the exact right time with the exact right message, in my opinion. And like I said, I've had so many people already reach out to me. And so I'm just so grateful for the outpouring of love for the book. And yeah, it's been rewarding, but very arduous.
Yes, it is an arduous process. And I'm to steal your own words, the agony and ecstasy of the process is real. And anybody who's written a book, I've had a lot of authors on here. I am one myself. It is like birthing a child. Like it is and what if people don't like it? And how do, like when somebody says, nah, you're like, well, wait, hold on. You know what I put into this? But it's not meant for everyone because nothing is, right? Like, so even though anyone can read this book, somebody's going to pick it up and go, oh my gosh, this is speaking to my soul. And somebody else is going to say, yeah, I guess. And that's okay because you can't be all things to all people. But I'm just appreciative that you recognized, okay, this is something that needs to get out there. So I have to know, did you come up with the title yourself or did somebody help you manifest that fabulous title?
I love that. I don't think that you really ever come up with anything yourself, so to speak. It did come from me, but it came from a conversation with a dear friend of mine whose name was Mason. We were just kind of talking about the ethos, the feeling of the book. And we said, yeah, it's kind of like the last book written by a human. And we were like, that's the title. There we go. And to me, by the way, let me just say it means two things. I think of it in two ways. Number one, of course, it won't be the last book written by a human, but when you read this, Christy, you will feel the heart and soul into it. And I hope this isn't the last book that is so human. Like we need messy, beautiful humanity. And we're getting AI'd out, with all the M dashes and, we're sounding more and more robotic. And so you will feel the heart and soul dripping in these pages. So in that form, in that sense, it might be the last book. The other thing was, honestly, I was just grappling with life, the purpose of existence, who I am, what in the hell is going on here? And what does AI have to do with all of this?
Yeah.
And so this is the book, the manual, the last book written by a human that I thought if I was 48 years old and just kind of plopped on earth as a 48-year-old and kind of got my bearings, looked around, okay, what's going on, spent some time, and then, you learned about AI and, oh, wow, this is the big thing on the scene right now. This is the book like I would have hoped to have like run into or picked up or whatever the case may be to get a sense of like what in the world is going on and what AI has to do with all of it.
Yeah. Oh, that is just so fascinating. And I cannot wait to get my hands on it and dig deeper, because the reality is we are all living in this space. None of us have been 48 before. We haven't been at exactly this age in exactly this space at exactly this time. And we need a manual. We need a guide to get us to the next thing. And it sounds like you've got it for us, which is pretty great. So, fun fact, I'm getting ready to ask you my favorite question, but ChatGPT,
Okay.
I did come up with Productive Joy together.
That's cool.
Yes. So you said you liked the title. I help make work fun so people don't quit. And what I mean by fun is fun means that people feel valued and appreciated. Fun means that people have a voice and they're allowed to use it. And fun means that people are able to leverage their talents for the greater good, right? So we work with organizations to help make work fun in that definition. But when I decided to start a podcast, I knew I didn't want it to just be about work. I wanted it to be about life, right? So I said, okay, what are other ways to say make work fun? And that's where Productive Joy came in. And so I have asked every guest so far, what is your definition of productive joy? The cool part is I haven't gotten exactly the same answer twice. But if you had to define it right now, today, this day, what would be your definition of productive joy?
Presence, being present. I talk about in the book how I had become like a human doing. And this is an existential question for humanity. When machines can do so much of what we're used to doing more efficiently, effectively, and more cheap than we can, what are we left to be? We're left with we're left with our being. We're human beings, Christie, obviously not human doings. And so my definition of productive joy, honestly, I'm going to give you two thoughts. This is the first one is bringing my being into everything that I'm doing. So whether that's podcasting with you, whether that's writing this book, whether it's watching my 1-year-old grandson, whether it's doing the dishes, I think strangely that can be joyful if we bring our full being to it. The second thing I would say, and these are easy, the most powerful ideas are often the most simple and therefore the most neglected. And this is one of those, but like living in total non-resistance to what is. So often we fight what reality is. We fight, we don't want to get older. We don't want our job to change. We don't want change. We don't want AI to show up. We don't want the book to sell, only 10,000 copies or whatever it's going to do. Like we want a different outcome. But I think living in non-resistance with as much ease, love, and grace as possible to what reality actually is productive joy. So there would be my two definitions. I bet you haven't gotten those before.
I have not, but I so love them. And presence it kind of wraps everything up. That was the word that you started with. And I have gotten flow a couple times. I've gotten peace a couple times, but presence is a new way of looking at it, just being in the moment, right? Like enjoying where you are and not resisting what's coming at you. So how do you help people create that? How do you help people create productive joy?
Well, there's very tactical ways and then a high level. Let me maybe talk high level and we can get tactical if you want. But again, and I think this is how AI can be a blessing to humanity. I talk about in the book how I climbed my little mountain of success. I built a lot of companies. I made a lot of money. All the external things were green and good and go. And I got to the top of my mountain, though, and I say there's nothing but a cold, howling wind. Just void. And void on top of that. So what happens when you get to the top, when you get everything you think you're supposed to want or need or have, and you still don't have all the answers, you still are not at peace. You have nowhere to go but to look inside yourself. This is another one of those simple ideas that are the most powerful and therefore the most neglected. So I think what all of us are looking for is already inside of us. So that's where you start. You look inside. Now, there's a lot of tactical things that you can do. The most powerful tool for me in the last 5 years since losing out of the governor's race has been meditation. So I'm a daily religious meditator. And people, so meditation is, I won't give my meditation speech, but let me just say that's a practice. Hot and cold therapies, flow activities. I talk about in the book about the 3 universal teachers that we all have. That's our bodies. So get in our bodies. That's human relationship, our families or other intimate relationships. Lean into relationships, especially in the age of intelligent machines when we're spending more and more time with our digital devices. And then lastly, the 3rd teacher that I discuss in the book is nature, spending time in nature. So those are all keys, I think, to and clues to your question. And that's my thought on that. Yeah. In a short, concise.
Well, it's perfect. And I think what I'm hearing and what makes me excited is your ability to be raw and in the moment, which you already said, that's what this book is a raw in the moment opportunity to hear from a human perspective and not from a canned, this is what it's supposed to look like. I understand that, and I'm learning more and more about that the older I get. When I was writing my book, my author coach said to me, I need less Christie Kent and more Super McMullen. You got it. I didn't get it right away. I was like, I need more. And he said, your superpower is your personality, but I don't see your personality in this book. And, I had written a dissertation, so that's very formulaic. And I didn't realize it was okay to be me, right? And so in the book, I turned around and went, oh my gosh, I get to have fun with this, and I get to be myself. And it reads now like you're talking to me. I say that because it's carried into my life where I'm recognizing that I know I'm a bold flavor. I know I'm a lot. I am wide the heck open, and it's okay, right? Like, I'm not doing that to be offensive, and I'm not doing that to do anything other than be myself. I get so excited when I get to talk to brilliant people like you. That's real. That's me. And when we are real, like you were when you were writing this book, other people can be real with you. Right. And that's what relationship piece. You said body, relationship, and nature. To me, that's that relationship piece 100 times over.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah. I get to be me.
Well, and I think that authenticity allows each of us, I think we're all on a heroic journey, our own hero's journey, and the collective, like human heroic journey. And AI is a crucible for this heroic journey. It's going to cause transformation and evolution within humanity. And whenever we're authentic, like you said, and leaning into our true selves, our real gifts, etc., we give permission for other people to do that as well. And so it is a gift to be authentic. It is a gift to bring your whole self. What we need to do is do the inner work to actually believe that, to actually have that real Jeff, that real Christie show up in the moments that matter and be the best that we can possibly be. So, yeah, I love that thought.
Yeah, just there's so much power. And as I look, and if you all are watching, everything behind you tells your story, and I'm sure that is by design. But you have,
I mean, it's my office,
right? But it's your gubernatorial. That is such a fun word. Your campaign, and then your wakeboard. Yeah.
Pearl Jam CD. I grew up in the Pacific Northwest in the 90s. Are you a girl of Pearl Jam?
And the fact that you have a CD on your desk is just like,
amen. It's a coaster now. I've changed it to a coaster, or my wife has. But yeah, because CDs, yeah. And then I have here's my little basketball book for my grandson. Anyway.
Love, love. Well, you're authentically you. And Jeff, you are just such a delight to know, to get to know. And I am so honored that you chose Productive Joy to be a place to let us all know about your book, but also let us know about you. So how would people find you? How would people put their hands on that fabulous book right behind you?
Yeah, I hope everyone will go out and check it out. It was meant to be a conversation starter. So read it and then let me know what you think. This is a conversation starter that I think could lead into a movement. I talk about a human political movement at the end of the book that we could have a conversation about. And you can find it anywhere books are sold. It's sold everywhere: Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Walmart, Target. And the way that you can follow me is probably best just on my website, jeffburningham.com. And I have very mixed feelings about social media, but I'm trying to lean into it and to reach people where they are. And so I'm pretty much at every, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, even Substack at Jeff Burningham. So I'm not hard to find. If you just Google me or look me up, you'll find me.
Which is a very smart way to do it, because we get real fancy and we put dashes and dots and craziness, and then nobody can find us. So I think that's wonderful. And I think you're doing a great job promoting yourself on social media, even if you don't like it. You're doing.
Thank you, Christie. I appreciate that.
So I could legitimately just keep talking, but I know that people would stop listening. So I do have a couple rapid fire questions for you. Would you be willing to answer them?
Of course. I'll spend whatever time with you as you like. Yeah.
Well, be quick because they're rapid fire. First question. What is your definition of fun?
You may have biased me here, but I love flow activities. Obviously, I'm an athlete. So anything that I can do in nature is fun. My favorite activity right now, it's August, is wake surfing on my favorite lake in the world, Lake Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. It's fun.
Okay, there you go. How do you know that you're showing up as your authentic self?
I feel it in my body, like it's a felt sense. There's a little bit of presence, essence, magic in the air that I can feel and sense. That's how I know.
How do you channel your best self on your worst days?
I try to feel it. I don't think it helps to block emotions or to mask them. So I try to allow myself to feel the emotion. And when you do that, you'll be surprised at how quickly it leaves you. So that often includes getting into something I love and or meditating or sitting with some hard feelings, some trauma, some pain, hearing it as deeply as I can and trying to let it go. Or let me say, so that would say that, and or just being with other people, just reach out socially. Of course, my soulmate, Sally, is my go-to, but I have 4 beautiful children and daughter-in-law, grandson, and then just a bunch of friends. So being with people too is another thing. Yeah.
I like both. Perfect. Okay,
Are these rapid fire enough?
They are perfect. They are so perfect. So I do have one final question, and this one will be tough because, gosh, if you haven't said some wonderful things. But by nature, our brains hold on to one. So if you have to leave people with one major idea from our time together, what is it?
Yeah, I would remind people that, as is often the case, with AI, the obstacle becomes the way. I know there's a lot of fear around AI. I understand why that is. But I think that the obstacle becomes the way if we will lean into our best selves and ensure that the AI we're developing is focused squarely on human flourishing. It can help us and will help us do that. If you want to know how to do that, if you want to know how that's possible, you got to read the last book written by a human. I mean, that is why I wrote it, and it's what I outline in the book. So that's the last thought. The obstacle becomes the way here. Lean into the heroic journey that is calling you forward. We were built for this. We can do this together.
Thank you for that inspiration and for that synopsis, because I think that's pretty great. I haven't heard that exact phrasing, the obstacle it becomes the way, but I wrote it down. I think I'll use it again. And I appreciate it very, very much. Friends, you just got a master class in being a human in this world where machines are getting more intelligent, but we have to be wise. So thank you so much for listening. I guarantee you grabbed a nugget or two of wisdom. If you didn't, hit repeat and watch again because there were so many things that Jeff said. I'm going to hold on to the agony and ecstasy of things because I really believe with my whole being that sometimes the best things are also the worst things at exactly the same time. And I think we need to be ready to acknowledge what's happening within us so that we can move forward. And as always, I'm going to challenge you to grab that nugget and then figure out a way to turn fun into action.